Circle is brought to you by Cheetah Sports Bras, the compression bra that provides maximum support and comfort for any sporting activity, whether you're playing hockey or running a marathon. Cheetah provides the stability of layering 2 or even 3 regular sports bras. It makes a big difference to thoracic back support. So stop by cheetahsport.com or follow the link on our website and mention with sports. When you think of Team USA in hockey, it's easy to drum up images of Gordon Bombay and his Mighty Ducks skating in a flying V. But for the next 30 minutes, I ask you to turn your attention away from that 90s classic and focus your attention to the USA women's field hockey team. Since 2003, this team has clawed its way from number 10 in the world to world number 4. They are renowned for their unwavering self-belief and physical prowess. And when a strength and conditioning coach says to you they're going to turn you into a physical animal, you'd better be ready. Riding the USA roller coasters to success is today's guest and USA superstar Michelle Vittese. Michelle, welcome to the Circle.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Let's get straight to the point, Michelle. The USA women's hockey team are renowned for their physically imposing stature. Who out of the team wins the chin-up competition, though?
Tune-up competition?
Chin up.
Oh, chin-up competition. Oh, goodness. I don't know. I mean, we all go kind of neck and neck, but I would like to say that I would win that. I'm not entirely sure that that's true. Jackie Briggs is a beast, and Melissa Gonzalez is pretty good at it. Jill actually can hold her own as well, but yeah, I would say the people that have been doing pull-ups for a long time are pretty good at them.
All right. On a more serious note, though, the fitness of the US women's team, it seems like you've been really leading the way in terms of being one of the leanest and strongest teams in the world. How did that all come about?
I think initially it was when Craig and Dave took over and they started to really instill this idea of a really hardworking, resilient, gritty culture that we all, for some it took a little bit longer, but we all bought into. And then started to really instill on a day-to-day. And I think in general, we trained ourselves to be extremely hardworking. Some had to train harder than others, obviously, because some people had that in them to begin with. But I think it started then. And then through that, we saw what success we had when we could really focus on that. And now we've kind of shifted our focus a bit to, yes, maintaining such a physical element to the game of hockey, but really fine-tuning our skills a bit to compete in a way that is not only, kind of running your opponent into the ground, but also trying to eliminate them with skill and, and being physically fit, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so who called you that they were going to say that they were going to turn you into a physical animal?
Actually, that was Craig himself. The very first time I met with him, I was still actually in college, and he said that to me, and it kind of took me back a bit. It was definitely the first time someone had ever said that to me, and that they believed that my body could do that. So it was kind of empowering and also a little bit scary. I definitely didn't like putting myself in those really uncomfortable places, but as I got used to it, and as a team we started to do it together, it became a lot easier for me.
So we talk about diet in the sport. Just how important is diet in terms of becoming your peak physical self?
I don't have obviously a nutrition background. I do like nutrition a lot, and I do like focusing on that a lot. I would say that it has, a very large part of it. It has a very large impact on your game. And for me, I was really diligent for a long time. I do I let myself enjoy eating and eating out a bit more now, eating out in restaurants. But I do think that it has a tremendous impact on your recovery, on your physical fitness, on, your lean muscle mass, I would say. Obviously, having too much extra on you isn't ideal. You know what I mean? It's important to be trim and to be supremely fit. So I think it does aid in your physical fitness a bit.
Is it a common sport over there, or is it something quite unique to play? It's just you don't really hear too much about it. Whenever I actually go out and talk to Americans, they're like, field hockey or ice hockey? It sort of seems like ice hockey is a more prominent sport.
Ice hockey is definitely a more prominent sport, and I think what makes it more prominent is that there is a professional league. So I think that most professional leagues drive the culture here, NBA, MLB, NHL, and especially like NFL, the football league. So I think that is mainly what people like to watch. It also generates a ton of revenue, so it's a big moneymaker. Yeah, field hockey, like I said, you play it in college, and after that there is a kind of a drop off. So in general, I think it's becoming like certain pockets in certain areas in the U.S. are starting to pick it up a bit more, but yeah, it doesn't compare, I think, with soccer. I mean, for me, if a young kid is deciding between playing soccer and field hockey, I think that they would be more inclined to play soccer. That's just my perspective.
Well, field hockey, it wasn't your first choice growing up. You originally played inline roller hockey. What made you change at age 12 over to field hockey?
Mostly it was because my PE teacher, my gym teacher when I was young, saw in gym activities we were playing like hockey with these foam sticks, and she was kind of like, I think it would be really great if you could just play for my team. And I was like, okay, had no idea what I would have to do. Had no idea I could not play with both sides of the stick. That was very, very weird to me. That this one side was round, and it was this really short thing. And I was like, I'll try. Great. So I played it then, and then kind of stuck with it after. And I don't know. I was decent at it, and I guess anytime you get to step into a new environment and you kind of aren't that bad, you continue with it. I think at least for me, that was what kept me going.
You grew up in a fairly hockey-orientated area, Cherry Hill, New Jersey. What was it like growing up in that area?
Growing up in that area was pretty competitive, to be honest. We have this thing called the U.S. Field Hockey Futures Development, where you try out for this really low grassroots movement, and you kind of move through the ranks as the better you get. You train kind of weekly. And the girls around me, actually, a lot of them, it was a highly competitive area. We played club hockey against each other and for the same team, and then kind of go off getting selected. More girls from New Jersey and the Pennsylvania area get selected than most, I think. It's just because it's a hockey hotbed. And then from there, I do think that it creates a really competitive environment because you're going against girls that you've known, that you've been playing against since you were little. So I really enjoyed it, honestly. It's a smaller community, but because it's so close to home, it was just really neat to play against these girls.
Let's talk about the actual USA hockey system itself and how you actually get to play at an international level. In most countries, you play for your local club alongside your national representation. But for USA, if you're not involved with the university and selected from the national side there's no other hockey, is there?
Yeah, that's correct. I think it's a huge disadvantage for USA Field Hockey development. I mean, if you are not one of 18 players, and like we talked about before, some people actually don't develop until later, where they normally, we have no idea how they'll turn out, and they're not really given a fair shot. And I think Yanni has now started to develop what we call a developmental program, where a larger lot of girls are chosen who may have still played or still have really raw athletic ability or still have the skill set that they once had when they were younger. And she's trying to fine-tune that and continue to develop them past college. So it's almost like a post-grad developmental thing. But honestly, if you're not selected for that, you do not get to compete unless you're in intramural or club or kind of like you live in a major city and a couple of teams, ask you to play. It's pretty casual, though, to be honest. You don't train. I mean, at least from my perspective, you don't.
So how much of a role does a university have in dictating whether or not you can actually play at an international level?
I think it has a huge role. I mean, if you're not selected to go to college or you have to put yourself through college, I mean, most kids do need financial help. College is expensive. I mean, it's $60,000 a year to be able to go to the school that I went to. I think that's around what it costs per year. And my parents put 3 girls through that school. There wasn't really any financial help, any scholarship opportunity. Then it would be really challenging, I think, for a girl to put herself through that. I mean, loans are tough, and fortunately I don't have any, but yeah, a lot of girls do, and a lot of girls have to put themselves through that. So I think because of that, it allows girls to continue to play, to develop, to play on a team environment, to develop their time management skills by being a student athlete, Yeah, so I think that it's huge in development. I don't know that it's the best way, but it does help. I think that there are better ways to develop talent.
Can the university dictate whether or not you play at international level? So if you're not meeting your grades and you're on a scholarship,
Yeah.
can they turn around to you and say, you're not allowed to play for Team USA?
Well, absolutely. They can choose almost to do whatever they want, especially because they're kind of paying for you to go to school. I mean, that's the hard part is especially if they give you an academic or an athletic scholarship, you are a student or you are an athlete, but you are always a student first. And that, like I told you earlier, that happened to my younger sister with the under 21 team. Yeah, it was definitely challenging, and it's always hard. And you have to have things approved through the board, through advisory boards, or through your academic coordinators, like your deans, your academic deans. There's a lot that goes into that process to be approved to even leave. Even if your grades are good, you can't just leave for a month. Like that is super challenging.
So you've got a centralised program where you all train together. How do people manage the travel between the university that they get their scholarship at, which they have to attend in order to play hockey and actually train, and then also finding time to represent the national team?
Yeah, that is if they do it. I mean, there are instances where they don't do it as often, especially now. This is the fall season, is the hockey season in college. So, yeah, they're competing right now for the university and trying to win a national championship. So they're not in and out as much as we would ideally love them to be at this point. It's really driving. It's flying, depending on where they're coming from. I mean, there are girls that are on the under 21 team that go to Stafford, which is in Palo Alto, California. So that's a good 6-hour flight back and forth. I mean, it's almost like Sydney and Perth, how far it is across your country.
Yep.
And then, yeah, really, it's just a lot of miles. You're driving a lot, and you're meant to do that on top of like going to school and competing for your university. It's a lot to juggle. I mean, it's definitely a challenge.
So are there anybody within your team that's not going to university but playing for the national squad and then also having to work? Or once you make the national squad, are you full-time athletes?
No, we just kind of passed a team voted in rule, I guess you could say, where we started to train later on Monday, 5 to 7. So to allow for some hours in the day for people to get jobs or internships or something to maybe make their transition after hockey not so difficult. Yeah, I choose not to do that because I really do value my time off my feet. And like I said, I don't know if I said this earlier, but I value family a lot. So I travel quite a bit to see my sister compete. Yeah, and I just have to maintain my relationships. That's kind of how I value life. Mm-hmm. But there are individuals, yes, that choose to work, that choose to study. We just had a girl take her LSAT, which is which is the test that you would need to be approved to go to law school, to be accepted into law school. So there are individuals that are taking it on themselves to try to prepare themselves for after hockey. The majority of us, I would say 95%, are full-time athletes, yes. To answer your first question, sorry. Erin Matson, our 17-year-old on our team, she was going to do what we call a gray shirt, which you leave early in your senior year of high school and you go compete at the university and you kind of prime your body, prep your body. You take a couple of classes to help you get acclimated. But she actually just chose not to do that, and she will train full-time in January rather than going off to university.
Right. So a bit of a mixture.
Prior to the World Cup. Yeah, I mean, she's the only one, and that's rare. I haven't been on a team in a long time where we had a 17-year-old compete.
Yeah, makes you feel probably quite old.
No, God, no. I mean, we already had this conversation. We are young. We are great.
Good for us. Now, let's actually talk about your family, because you mentioned it before that you like to spend a lot of time with them and you put a lot of value on your family. One of your younger sisters has also been selected in the national squad, but then you also mentioned you've got a younger sister than that. There must be so many fights over who's actually the best in the family.
Well, my sister's actually in the car with me now and probably laughing. Yeah, there are a bit of fights. I mean, I'm very type A. I'm pretty dominant. I'm very outgoing. My personality can kind of swallow a room. So my middle sister, Carissa, the one who was just actually brought up to the national team, she has been dealing with that, for quite a long time. So I don't know. I would say that they let me win a lot just to shut me up. Not sure that it's, I don't know, always out of always out of talent. They are both extremely talented individuals, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to watching them develop. And I'm so lucky to be able to spend so much time with them. I know everyone doesn't get that luxury.
So have you played any games with Chrissy yet?
Yeah, she competed in the Pan Am Cup. We had an injury, and she was kind of reserved, next one in line. So she competed in that, and that was like her 2nd through 7th cap. Yeah, so that, and then the roster was just released, and she's accompanying us to New Zealand. So I'm super excited about that and to Melbourne first.
How long do we have to wait until there's 3 Vittese sisters playing?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, we're in the process right now of Tara's deciding whether or not she wants to commit to this full time. She knows, obviously, the sacrifice and just the decision making going with it. So yeah, I'm hoping. Oh gosh, keep my fingers crossed. I'm hoping it's not that long. But she graduates in, I think it would be May. May, is that when they graduate? Yeah, May. So then I think she has to decide.
London Olympics, it's always impressive to go to an Olympics, but you're wanting to go and play your best hockey. Unfortunately, the team came last out of the 12 teams. Can you put into words what you felt like when you're walking away from that Olympic campaign?
I think for me, the biggest struggle walking out of that Olympics is the reaction that you get from everyone else. It's almost like pity. Any true competitor knows that. Everyone always says, oh, it was so great. You got to go. You should be so fortunate that you got to go to an Olympics. But like I said, any athlete and any true competitor knows that you don't want to hear that. You want to go and you want to do the best you possibly can. And you want to, compete at your fullest potential. And I think the real struggle for me was leaving that and feeling like that experience was almost traumatizing. And I almost walked away from the sport entirely. I went to college, competed in my college season, and really debated for a long time if I wanted to continue with this. And that was when Craig took over. There was a change in staff. So it would have been a fresh start, but I chose to do it because I really did not want the last time I ever played to feel like such a defeat. And I felt like there was so much more in me, and I had the ability to create almost like a better memory of the sport in my mind. And I didn't want that to be the last time. So that was my decision making coming back from that.
You mentioned that there was a major overhaul after the London Olympics, and Craig Parnham, who was actually the assistant coach of GB or England, how did things change with the introduction of him into the group?
Yeah, I mean, he honestly took over, and in the interview process, I knew they were interviewing a couple of faces, and I didn't really know much about Craig. And I just looked at his picture, looked at his photo, and was like, oh, okay, like that's him. And then really didn't know much else. And then my first interaction with him, I told you, was very intense. And he was Craig is just so professional in everything that he does. Like, very little, it elicits a little emotion, and especially I think he's very inspiring, but it does take a bit to get to know him and warm up to him. And yeah, he said that to me about being a physical animal, and it scared me a little bit, to be honest. And I knew how the GB girls played and what their bodies looked like, and it was intimidating. It was hard. I was like, wow, that takes hard work, and I honestly just didn't think I had it in me to do it. And I think fear was probably the biggest thing that the biggest emotion that took over was this like fear of like, whoa, this will be so different. But I mean, that's changed for me. I don't really do well with like drastic change like that. But after that, it kind of was smooth sailing. The program was a bit different. We were in the process of moving like training sites. Initially, the team had been based in San Diego, but they thought it was smarter to bring it to the East Coast because that's where all of our families are. And it turned out to be a good decision. But again, that was another decision where we have to uproot our lives and move to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, which is now where we're based. But it took a bit for everyone to be accepting and buy into that.
Let's talk about you. You're 27 years of age now. Can you compare yourself as an athlete now to when you first started? What's different about you?
Yeah. Oh gosh, this question always tends to come up. So I think now, I'm a bit hard-headed. Like I said earlier, sometimes I'm super type A, very outgoing, very loud, and a lot of personality in this little body of mine. But, I would say the biggest change was like my awareness, and for me at least, awareness and wanting to leave a better kind of footprint than the one I initially had. Craig and I had many conversations about what kind of athlete that I wanted to be, and if I wanted to be someone that always went against the grain or not. And I remember I had like kind of I don't know what it was, like a changing moment in my life where I kind of looked in the mirror. I don't know, actually, metaphorically looked in the mirror and was kind of like, who do you want to be? Like, what do you want to do? Do you want to be, for lack of a better word, an asshole, or do you want to not be? And sorry if you can't use that, but
that's
it's
right.
the word of choice because I was a little one. And yeah, it's easier to be a yes person, right? To say yes to everything and to do it with a good face and try to be positive. And I have my moments where like, I kind of look back and it gives me the chills kind of like, it's not great. But yeah, I guess the come to moment kind of helped. And everyone always has those refresher moments where they kind of look back and they don't want to repeat history. So that's kind of what I'm living through right now. At least I have moments where people might want to, shoot me. But yeah, I think I do a much better job of being aware and trying to do all in my power to create something at least positive, hopefully.
Well, it seems like you have had a positive effect on the team because Rio Olympics, you went through the round games. Was it undefeated?
Honestly, I don't know. I
think it might have been.
No, we lost to GB.
That's right. So you only lost to GB, but you had great wins. Australia, Argentina. You headed into the sudden death quarterfinals as the highest goal scoring team with 14 goals. What happened in that?
God, I didn't even know that stat.
Yeah. I do my research.
Good job.
What happened in that final though against Germany?
Yeah. Wow. Thinking about that game honestly makes me nauseous, just because having done all that work and all of that time in like on the pitch, in the gym, worrying about, crossing all of our T's and dotting all of our I's, like that game we fell apart. From my perspective, I remember thinking in the middle of the game, like my mouth was so dry and I felt like everything, like it was like almost like this helpless feeling. Like I couldn't influence the game, and the way that we were pressing, I wasn't comfortable with. I just remember feeling like bad all over. And I'm now trying to do a better job of like maintaining some type of control when the game feels a little bit out of my control. I'm working with like sports psychologists about it, but I think, that game we just were off. I mean, I couldn't even remember. Honestly, I don't even remember like details except when we almost scored and like we dove in and like it hit Katie Ryan-Preck's like leg. Like that to me was just like the epitome of that game. Everything we tried was not working. And then we looked around at halftime and everyone's faces were just like off. There was very little connection, and that feeling that we had been living off of, like that really good, contagious, positive feeling, like wasn't there. That's just from my perspective. I mean, if you ask someone else, it might be different, but yeah, it was a rough one for me. And oh gosh, I don't even know what else.
What do you think that you could have done differently in terms of your approach, or do you think Germany was just the better team?
They were very good, and don't get me wrong. Like they definitely showed up to play that game, and we did not. And I think one of the learning points for us is like actually losing that game. And I know it's hard to say, but you go through all of that hard work and not having winning is just, I just think it would have masked kind of like what we need to focus on, which is being able to perform under pressure situations at a high level. And I think now that's a focus, winning a quarterfinal game. It's kind of a focus for us going forward, that we identified that because we haven't played in those situations often, that we might not have been comfortable. And Germany was awesome. I mean, they played so well. They do what they do all the time. And we had like kind of a rematch with them at World League 3. And I knew, like in my mind, I had like almost like a repeat history moment where I was like, okay, don't worry. They're very good at like moving the ball around and letting you feel like you're not influencing it on the press. And like that, to me, I just had that moment where I was like, okay, you felt like this before. It's okay. So, it was a learning point for me and for our group. And I think it was just one of the games that we lost, having not had experience being in that situation, which is unfortunate, but everything has an upside. So
absolutely. So since actually the Rio Olympics, you've had another change in coach. So ex-Dutch player Janneke Schotman, who was your assistant coach over that Rio Olympic campaign. What's it like actually being coached at an international level by a female coach? Because it's actually something over here in Australia, and really you look across the world, there's not too many head coaches at international level. Alison Annan's probably one of the only females that I can think of off the top of my head at the moment. But what's Janneke like to train under?
Yanni is brilliant. I really, really, really liked Janneke even when she was under Craig and when she was an assistant coach for us because of her ability to teach technical skill. Prior to this, like she comes from a Dutch culture with it, which they, pick up a stick when they're 2. They really focus on skill development, on playing with speed on the ball and focusing on, things when you're little that are super important to learn. And Craig and Dave came from a super almost robust, strength, fitness. I mean, skill, yes, but I do think Yanni added an element of creativity to that. That was super intriguing at first. And now, she is now the coach, and it's great. I mean, she does things a bit differently than Craig, which is great. It's great for us. It's okay. Everyone's really happy. And I think having a coach that has performed and competed and actually been successful at the international level is also really reassuring because someone has been in our shoes, and that was always nice. It's always nice to feel like someone's, you have an ally, even though she is our authority. It also, we trust her a lot. So I think that makes it a lot easier for us because knowing she's been in our shoes.
So would you say that coming up for the team, the next main focus is going to be World Cup?
Yes, it is actually. Yeah, that's the next training block. I mean, obviously right now our focus is on World League 4 and on growth and learning and always trying to push the envelope a little bit and get everyone playing at the same level, get everyone connected. So that's what we're focusing on. But I think World League 4 is almost like a stepping stone to World Cup. It's definitely going to serve as a really important learning experience for us, playing some of the best teams in the world. So that'll be really fun.
Perfect. All right, Michelle, before we go, we always end with a few quick questions. So you can always pass, but let's see what you come out with. All right, so favourite TV series at the moment?
Oh, I just finished Ozark.
Oh, great. I've been watching that as well. I like your choice.
Yes, just finished that.
Favourite?
But Game of Thrones, till I die. I'm a GOT fan. Full show.
You're making me like you even more. Okay, favourite, yes, most embarrassing music you listen to. Just to give you an example, my closet person that I like to listen to is Celine Dion.
Oh my God, love her. But is that embarrassing? No, that's awesome. So I'm not sure that I would even categorize that as embarrassing. Love Celine, love Whitney. Also a huge Beyonce fan. Is that embarrassing?
No, that's a bit cooler.
Power all over. Okay,
fantastic. Okay, any weird related hockey dreams that you've had?
Hockey dreams?
Yeah.
Oh no, but when I was injured, I would often dream about running and doing crazy stuff, when I was on crutches and stuff. So that's not really weird, but
I've always
think so.
I've always had one where I've just got this floppy hockey stick that I get out there and I actually can't hit the ball. But anyway,
have you ever looked that up? There's got to be something. Maybe you're anxious or something. I don't know.
A lack of control.
No, I have weird teeth falling out dreams. That's the one thing that is weird, but it's not hockey related.
Right.
My teeth start to move in my mouth and fall out. It's creepy.
All right. If you could be anyone else in your team, who would it be and why?
Anyone else? Honestly, I don't know. There's a couple, but really I'd love to be Joe Whitmer just so I know what the heck she's thinking. Because she is so quiet, put her head down, run around, do all the crazy hard work. But sometimes she looks at you with this face and I'm like, what are you thinking? She's very quiet. She kind of leads by example. That's why I love her. But yeah, I would love to know what she's thinking sometimes.
Very good. All right, this is the last one. And the only reason why I'm asking you this is that actually I went to an NFL game over in the USA. Went to the Dallas Cowboys Stadium. And the only question that they asked their players was barbecue or fried chicken.
Barbecue, without a doubt.
So it's a real
Literally,
American
thing. I didn't even have to think about that. Yes. I mean, if you were asking my boyfriend, he would tell you fried chicken. But I hate fried chicken. I hate it. It freaks me out.
Fantastic. Michelle, it's been fun chat. Best of luck with you in the future campaigns.
Thank you. Can't wait to see you at, what's it called? Festival of Hockey? Is that what it is?
In Melbourne.
In Australia?
I look forward to it. Now I've got all the inside information. I'll be able to give a bit of a better running commentary.
No. Oh, yes. Good. Perfect. Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thanks, Michelle. For more conversations from the world of women's sport, visit us at withsports.com, where you'll find blogs, videos, articles, and more than 700 episodes of podcasts, which is also available free on iTunes. We cover all sports for women around the world, and join us on social media too, at withsports and Nelson_Ashley.